Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into Dr. Kem's cinematic lecture on the rigorous mechanics of numerical precision. Look, if you handle data, you already know that numbers represent physical realities. So we are going to explore correct rounding procedures, significant digits, and error propagation by looking at what Dr. Kem calls the precision pyramid. But right off the bat, let me ask you a quick, kind of counterintuitive math question. Why do 5.5 and 6.5 both round to 6? If your gut instinct is that 6.5 definitely rounds up to 7, well, strap in. We are about to bust a massive elementary school myth that might literally be skewing your data. Here's our roadmap for climbing the precision pyramid. We'll cover the importance of precision, counting significant figures, the actual rules of rounding, and how to apply them to addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. All of this builds up to the ultimate goal, avoiding those catastrophic rounding errors. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the importance of precision. You know, a significant figure isn't just some random output a calculator spits out. It's actually the number of digits in a measured result that you know with absolute certainty, plus exactly one final estimated digit. This means a significant figure is a direct reflection of the physical precision of the actual measurement scale you used in the real world. Let's compare a measurement of 13.2 centimeters with 13.20 centimeters. In pure math class, those are identical. But in science and data analysis, writing 13.20 is a whole different ballgame. That extra zero is literal proof that a more precise instrument was used. For 13.2, the measurement was known to the ones place, and that tens place was an estimate. But for 13.20, it was known precisely to the tens place, and the hundreds place, the zero, was the estimate.
Moving right along to Section 2, counting significant figures.
Now, non-zero numbers are super straightforward, but zeros, they're a notorious trap. So Dr. Kem lays out this really strict hierarchy. First, captive zeros, the ones sandwiched between non-zero numbers, they always count. Second, leading zeros, like the ones before the number 25 in 0.0025, they never count. They're purely placeholders just to locate the decimal point. In fact, if you convert the number to scientific notation, those leading zeros just vanish. And finally, trailing zeros, at the very end. They only count if there is a decimal point somewhere in the number. If there's no decimal, they are just ambiguous placeholders. Let's run through some rapid-fire examples to really lock in these abstract rules. Take 0.010020. The leading zeros don't count, the captive ones do, and the trailing zero counts because, yep, there's a decimal. So that's 5 significant figures. Next up, 5,200 calories. No decimal point, so the trailing zeros don't count, giving us just 2. What about 402 kilograms? That zero is captive, so we've got 3. And finally, 0.0070080 grams. Skip the leading ones, count the captives, and keep the trailing one because of the decimal. Boom, 5 significant figures.
All right, let's get into Section 3, the rules of rounding.
I absolutely love this quote from our sources. The typical rule taught is that you round up with 5 or more and round down with 4 or less. This rule is wrong. Seriously, think about it. If you always round a 5 up, you're rounding down 4 times for 1, 2, 3, and 4, but you're rounding up 5 times for 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. If you're doing this across a massive data set, you are artificially dragging the average of your values upward. You're creating a completely unacceptable upward statistical bias.
So how do we fix this? Enter banker's rounding, also known as round half to even. The rule is brilliantly simple. If the digit you're dropping is exactly a 5 and it's followed by nothing but zeros, you just round to the nearest even number. This isn't just theory, by the way. This is the IEEE 754 standard for floating point arithmetic used in systems like Python and Excel. By rounding to the even number, half the time you round up and half the time you round down. It completely neutralizes that statistical bias. And that brings us right back to the answer for our opening question. 5.5 is exactly halfway, right? The nearest even number is 6, so it rounds up. But 6.5 is also exactly halfway. Its nearest even number is 6, so it rounds down. The rounding events perfectly balance out. How cool is that?
Onward to Section 4, addition and subtraction.
When you're adding or subtracting, the rule is entirely about alignment. You're going to round your final result to the least number of decimal places found in your components. That's it. You totally ignore the left side of the decimal point. We are strictly looking at the digits on the right.
Here's where it matters, and it's all about the weakest link. Say we add 100, which has 0 decimal places, to 23.643, which has 3. Raw math says 123.643. But that 100? It's our weakest link. It essentially forces that highly precise 23.643 to be rounded off to 0 decimal places. So 123.643 becomes just 124.
Next up, Section 5, multiplication and division. Now you really have to keep these straight in your head. While addition and subtraction look only at decimal places, multiplication and division play by a totally different rule, the total significant figure rule. For these, you count the total number of significant figures and the entire number no matter where the decimal is. Your final result can't have any more significant figures than your least accurate measurement. For instance, let's multiply 2.5 by 3.42. Your calculator is going to spit out 8.55. But hold on, 2.5 only has 2 sig figs, while 3.42 has 3. That 2.5 dictates the precision for the whole problem. We have to shrink our final answer down to just 2 significant figures. Since 8.55 ends in exactly a 5, we use our new best friend, banker's rounding, and round it to the nearest even number. That gives us 8.6.
Finally, we reach the top of the pyramid. Section 6, avoiding rounding errors.
Look, when you're tackling a long chain of calculations, intermediate rounding is basically catastrophic. It causes this domino effect of error accumulation that absolutely destroys data integrity. This is especially true in iterative computer algorithms or complex statistical sums. The strategy here is strict. Carry as many digits as you possibly can, literally all the floating point numbers your calculator holds, through the entire calculation. Identify your limiting terms as you go, but round only the final result.
Just to show you how strict this gets in the real world, check out the actual policy for the Science Olympiad. They explicitly demand that competitors keep as many digits as practical until the very end to avoid rounding errors. This isn't just some textbook suggestion, it's a rigorous competitive standard.
Let's walk through a messy, multi-step calculation together. Imagine a division problem added to a whole number, added to another division problem. If you punch this all into your calculator without stopping, you get this chaotic floating point nightmare, 8.630829, and it just keeps going. We keep all of those numbers intact, but we mentally note our weakest links. The first division gives us 3 sig figs. The last division is limited to just 2 sig figs, thanks to that 4.0.
And because of the rules of addition, our final result is ultimately limited by the accuracy of that final division piece. We have to round off to the last common significant digit occurring furthest to the right. In this case, that means shrinking the final answer to just 1 digit after the decimal. So after managing all that math chaos, we land on a beautifully simple, highly precise final result, 8.6. So let's wrap up this explainer with a bit of a philosophical question. If every single physical measurement in the universe contains inherent uncertainty, and our rounding rules are basically just statistical tools to prevent bias, are any of our calculated truths actually absolute? Or are we just meticulously managing our own ignorance? Managing error propagation is absolutely crucial, but it's a great reminder that science is always an approximation of reality. I hope this climb up the precision pyramid gives you a sharper lens for handling your own data. Thanks for hanging out, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.